But he looked good in that video for sure. Those were probably the last good days. So, not that it wasn't good later. I mean, he definitely continued to show up till the very end. So, anyway, we're here for Robert's essays, and I know that Sharon is not probably going to be with us tonight. She's not feeling well, so some of you are going to have to step up and volunteer to read. But I'm going to turn the mic over to you, Robert, and Cherie. Hi, Cherie. Good to see you.
Hello.
And Rick and McKaylee and Brooklyn and Gail and Edward, of course. Nice to see you all. The mic is yours.
Where's Deb? I don't see Deb yet. Anyway, if somebody would like to start with the prayer, thank you, Lynn. Okay.
I don't see it, but I'm
Oh,
only
sorry.
here.
My bad.
I'm here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal. Amen.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say hello to Gail and Rick and Rafi and Brooklyn and Edward and Michaela and Lynn and whoever else shows up. It's great to have you here. It's going to be a busy day because it's been a crazy week, as you will see. But we are going to start today with some music. And so let me get this going.
And I'll warn you, he can't listen to this without crying. So we'll try to keep his mouth.
Walk down that lonesome road, all by yourself. Don't turn your head back over your shoulder, and only stop to rest yourself when the silver moon is shining high above the trees. If I had stopped to listen once or twice, if I had closed my mouth and opened my eyes, if I had cooled my head and warmed
Okay. We just launched a new sci-fi novella with a spiritual twist called The Android. In the android, oh no, what if the companion you ordered became the mirror you could no longer avoid? In the android, Daniel Cole is a successful man learning to live with the wreckage of a failed marriage, an empty apartment, and a life that looks better from the outside than it feels on the inside. Then Mara arrives. She is calm, observant, and unlike anyone Daniel has ever known. What begins as an unusual arrangement slowly becomes something far more unsettling and tender, a confrontation with desire, loneliness, need, and the uncomfortable difference between being wanted and being loved. The Android is a quiet, intimate novella about identity, conscience, and the strange ways another presence can reveal what we have spent a lifetime avoiding. For readers who enjoy thoughtful fiction with emotional depth, moral tension, and a question that lingers after the final page. Special release offer. The Kindle edition of the Android will be free on June 9th and June 10th. After that, early bird pricing will remain at $3.99 through July 4th and then return to $6.99. The Android is available here. And is Bob putting it? Yes, he put it up on the chat. And I just finished reading it, and it is very interesting. It's very different, especially for him and all the other things that he writes. If you have nothing else better to do for a little while, you might enjoy reading it. Okay, the following books are now available as audiobooks in virtual voice, nonfiction, and I'm just going to go through a couple of them. The Lifelong Learning Process, The Undoing of Egoic Thinking, The Last Book You Will Ever Need to Read, etc. And all of the Awakening the Soul's volumes, 1 through 16. Those are all available now with voice. And then fiction, Beyond Reasonable Doubt, The Typewriter, the trilogy, yeah, and more. So that's kind of exciting. And again, we just keep adding different things. Just a reminder, while I cannot afford to give away free books forever, there are folks who cannot afford them. I will always have a method for them to obtain free digital copies. Just ask. Now for the dissertation le mardi, essays on Tuesday. This again is not about what Bob wants to hear or say, it's about what you may need to hear. So who would like to choose an essay? And we're going to go to group 5, which are the most current ones.
I will.
I'll get the door.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
We didn't expect you, but we're
No,
glad to
I'm
have
here. I
you.
wanted to come and read,
Okay.
All right,
Super.
yeah. I'm not looking so good, but I'm here.
We don't have to look. Okay, we can
No,
just
I'm not
listen.
I'm not even, that's not important. All right, let me just look for a minute. All our problems have already been solved. All our problems have already been solved.
Did you see it? Oh, okay, there we go.
And I'm just gonna resize it.
Yeah.
You wanna read it?
Yep.
You wanted to.
All our
Okay.
problems have already been solved. I'm sorry, my husband's pouring something. It'll take him a minute. Hold on, one sec. You would have heard him because he's filling up my humidifier. Okay. Some are small enough to be annoying. The internet goes down, the car will not start, the appointment is delayed. The bill is higher than expected. The computer does something only a computer would think is reasonable. Some are more personal, a strained relationship, a health concern, a child, or parent in trouble. I find a financial fear, a lingering regret, a sharp word we wish we had not said, or one we cannot stop hearing. Then there are the great collective problems: war, politics, loneliness, aging, injustice, uncertainty, and the daily parade of human behavior that makes us wonder whether the species is improving or simply learning to argue faster. At first glance, these appear to be many different problems. Each seems to require a different solution. Money solves the money problem. Medicine solves the health problem. Apology solves the relationship problem. Better leadership solves the political problem. A new password solves the I can't see the next
Bob, you have
word.
to take it too.
The computer problem, assuming we can remember where we wrote it down. But A Course in Miracles asks us to look more deeply. Lesson 80 gives us a startling idea. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. It continues by teaching that we do not have many problems. We have one central problem, and the problem has already been answered. The Course identifies the problem as the belief in separation. Once that is recognized, the many forms of our distress begin to lose their authority over us. This does not mean the world suddenly becomes orderly. It does not mean the car starts, the bill vanishes, and the diagnosis changes, or the difficult person in our life becomes charming by lunchtime. It means the real problem was never merely the form. The real problem was the loss of peace we assigned to the form. This is where the lesson becomes practical. When I say my problem is money, the Course gently asks, is it money or is it fear? Oh, this is good. Is it money or is it fear? When I say my problem is this person, it asks, is it this person or is it judgment? Wow. When I say my problem is my body, it asks, is it the body or is it my belief that I am only a body? When I say my problem is the world, it asks, is it the world or is it meaning I have given the world? Lesson 80 does not deny our experience. It redirects our attention to the mind that interprets the experience. It says, in effect, do not be deceived by the many costumes the one problem wears. The problem may arrive today dressed as a bull, a bill.
Okay.
That's okay. Tomorrow as an argument, and the next day as a headline. But beneath the costume is the same old belief. Oh my God, this is fantastic. I am separate, vulnerable, alone, and at the mercy of forces outside myself. The belief is the problem. And according to the Course, that problem has been solved. The answer is not found by rearranging every circumstance under the world finally behaves. The answer is in finding accepting correction in the level of mind. I do not have to collect grievances today. I do not have to make a shrine of my anxieties. I do not have to prove that I have been unfairly treated. insufficiency appreciated or uniquely burdened, I can pause and say, let me recognize the problem has been solved. The sentence does not make me passive, it makes me sane. The sentence does not, okay, from peace, I may still pay the bill, make the phone call, apologize, see the doctor, vote, help a friend, repair the computer, or change my plans. But do these things without first surrendering my peace to the situation. I respond rather than react. I act without worshiping the problem. This is a very different way to live. The ego loves complex problems because complex problems keep us busy. God, you don't even see it when it's doing it, huh? They give us something to analyze, defend, dramatize, repeat to anyone kind enough to listen. The Course offers something similar: one problem, one solution. Separation was the problem, love is the answer. And because love has not changed, the answer has already been given. So today, when the next problem appears, perhaps I can meet it differently. Not with denial, not with panic, not with immediate assumption that my peace must wait until this thing is fixed. I can pause and remember. This may need my attention, but it does not need my fear. This is amazing. This may call for action, but it does not call for grievance. This may appear complicated, but the truth remains simple. My problems have been solved. The form may still come and go as forms do, but the answer waits quietly beneath them unchanged, and the peace of God has been lost. It has not been lost, it has only been forgotten. And remembering is the practice.
That's it.
Not with denial, not with panic,
No, no,
not with
that was it.
immediate
That was the end of it.
What happened?
That was the end of it. It bounced back up again. That was the end.
I guess
There
it's
was
not.
a footnote
It
at
went
the
away
bottom.
on my screen.
I know. That was the end of it. I shut it off.
Okay.
Sorry. That might have been a little confusing. Anybody want to comment on that?
Well, it wasn't done.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Um,
done?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I think it was fantastic. I think it was
there
like,
was a footnote,
oh, okay, that's what I was
a
reading wrong.
footer,
I
but there
have to
was no
say,
more
Robert,
text.
it's something that you sit with. What I've noticed when I read now is sitting with it and contemplating, it just goes so much deeper. And the questions you asked were absolutely right on. They were perfect. It was it was just amazing. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Rafi,
Yeah, it follows along what I have been doing. And that is when a situation comes up, the ego immediately wants to make it something very complicated, like this is going to be the end of the world. First thing I say to myself is, am I peace now? How is my being upset going to make this any better? And it just, as soon as I recognize the peace in me that is reality, or say, am I aware? Am I the awareness now? All of a sudden everything calms down, and whatever the situation gets resolved simply, easily, and efficiently. And so this was a great reminder for that. And also, if I can put in a suggestion, I'd like to do the let it go one that follows it.
okay. Michaela?
I just loved it, and reminds me of the workbook lesson. Let me recognize my problems have been solved, and I love how you brought in fear, and you asked that question: Is it coming from fear? And so, to me, you were already stepping back and you were already looking at it because you were being the decision maker. You were asking the question, and to resolve it is to give it over, to look at it and give it over to the Holy Spirit. It's just beautiful, and as Rafi said and Sharon said too. So, such beautiful writings, Robert, and obviously a lot of inner self-reflection and questioning. Such beauty. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. But I got to admit, I'm not perfect. I mean, Cherie will tell you about 3 days ago, I had a total meltdown. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I was ready for a tinfoil helmet. Rafi, do you want to read this one?
Yeah, sure. Let it go. What we hold on to is what holds us. Hello. Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred, from A Course in Miracles. This is the reason the song
Oh,
Let It Go from Frozen resonated deeply with millions of people around the world. Beneath the snowflakes, castles, and animated fantasy was a truth almost everyone recognizes but rarely practices. We are exhausted from holding on. It, letting go releases so much energy, it's incalculable. We hold grievances with a death grip. We hold guilt like a secret identity. We hold envy as proof that something is missing in us. We hold revenge fantasies as if they protect us from pain, trying to protect yourself with fear. What a joke. We hold old conversations, old betrayals, old humiliations, and old versions of ourselves long after life has moved on. And then we wonder why we feel heavy. The ego tells us that holding on is strength. Yeah. It says that if we release the grievance, we lose. If we forgive, we surrender. If we let go of anger, guilt, or resentment, then somehow the past wins. But the truth is almost the opposite. When we refuse to release, what we refuse to release becomes our prison. A Course in Miracles repeatedly points toward this simple but difficult realization. I don't find it difficult. Suffering is not caused by what happened, but by our determination to continue carrying it. It jumped around. I can't read it now. Okay, there it is. The Course is uncompromising on this point. The past has no power except the power we continuously give it through remembrance, judgment, and identity. Many people think that they are protecting themselves by replaying injuries. In reality, they are preserving them. Hello. A grievance is like gripping a burning coal while waiting for someone else to feel the pain. The strange thing about grievances is that they often become part of our personality. We rehearse them, defend them, polish them. Some people can recite a betrayal from 20 years ago with more energy and detail than something beautiful that happened yesterday. The mind builds monuments to suffering and then calls them truth. Oh boy, this is so right on. The ego loves this because grievances establish separation. They reinforce the idea that I am the innocent victim, so ego, and you are the guilty cause. Once that identity is established, forgiveness becomes nearly impossible because the grievance has become psychologically valuable. Without the enemy, who would I be? Without the wound, what story would I tell? Without the resentment, what would justify my anger? Yada, yada, yada. Yeah. The Course gently but firmly asks us to examine whether we truly want peace, whether we want to be right. That's the first step in the 6 steps with the release technique. That question alone can change a life. Each operates in a similar way. We look at another person's successes, relationships, beauty, wealth, recognition, or happiness, and quietly conclude that their gain somehow represents our loss. Wow. Pain of, of comparison. The ego sees life as a competition of limited resources. Someone else's joy becomes evidence of our deprivation. But envy is exhausting because it requires constant comparison. There it is. It turns life into a scoreboard. A peaceful mind does not compare, it appreciates. Hello. Guilt may be the heaviest burden of all. Some people can carry guilt for things they actually did. Others carry guilt for things they merely thought, imagined, desired, or failed to accomplish. Many carry guilt that was handed to them by parents, religion, culture, or society. And guilt is stubborn because part of us believes we deserve to suffer. That is why people often sabotage joy just as it arrives. They unconsciously believe peace must be carried through punishment. Wow. Let the central message of A Course in Miracles, yet the central message of A Course in Miracles is that our true nature has never been damaged. Beneath the fear, the stories, the mistakes, and the defenses remains something innocent and untouched. The Course does not deny that human beings make errors. It simply refuses to turn the errors into identity. This distinction matters enormously.
Okay, I'm going to take a break here. Steve wanted to say something. Steve, did you want to comment in the middle or you want to save it to the end?
I can save it to the end.
Okay. Rafi, keep going.
Okay. You are not your worst moment. You are not your most shameful thoughts. You are not the sum of total of your grievances. And perhaps most importantly, neither is anyone else. Revenge is another burden disguised as strength. The ego fantasizes about correction through punishment. If they suffer enough, it says, then balance will be restored. But revenge really reduces peace because the mind that seeks revenge must remain emotionally attached to the injury in order to sustain the desire. To keep hatred alive, we must keep reopening the wound. The ego calls this justice. The soul experiences it as exhaustion. Let it go. Sounds simple until we realize how much of our identity is built around not letting go. Some people cling to suffering because it gives them certainty. Yeah, right. Others cling to anger because it gives them energy. Some cling to victimhood because they no longer know who they would be without it. But eventually, the cost becomes too high. The body feels it, relationships feel it, sleep feels it, joy disappears beneath the weight of the constant mental rehearsal. Then one day, something inside quietly whispers, there has to be another way. That may be the holiest moment in a person's life. Not when they become spiritually impressive, not when they win an argument, not when they prove they were right, but when they finally become tired enough to put down the burden. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is the willingness to stop poisoning yourself with the past. It does not mean approving harmful behavior. It does not mean becoming naive or allowing abuse. It simply means refusing to claim your peace, chain your peace to what someone else did or failed to do. Sometimes let it go is not about another person at all. Sometimes it is about releasing the war against ourselves. Hello. The Course says, I could see peace instead of this. Not someday, not after everyone apologizes, not after the world changes. Now, peace begins the moment we stop gripping whatever truly brought us safety in the first place. The ego hears let it go as loss. The spirit hears it as freedom. And perhaps That is why the song touched so many people. Beneath the music was a universal spiritual truth. The cold never bothered us nearly as much as the things we refused to release.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafi.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to take Steve first?
Yeah. Steve, do you want to say something?
What the release
Yes,
is all about.
about letting go. I have tried relaxing my body when I began as a teenager, yoga, and letting go mentally, dropping it. But lately, I've been liberated, more liberated by the parts of me, the envious, the judgmental parts, not to fight with those parts, but to actually, and the best way I can describe it is this visualization that I'm at the head of this conference table and I have all these different voices and parts that often in the past I would let them go, like let the cloud, let them see them as clouds passing. But now I invite them to the table, and sometimes they take over too much, but not for long, because I'm in charge and I control my kingdom. And these different subjects, these different experiences, neural pathways, habits of judging previously were locked out and they didn't go away. Because suppression doesn't work. So I'm telling you this because it's only been in the last month that I'm experiencing. I like today, I caught myself being apathetic, which is rare for me. And so, I mean, I didn't care about anything. I was going, oh, it was kind of like a grayness. And I allowed the grayness part to have a chair. And in the identification and in the witnessing of it, I was more in touch with my witness, the love, the observer. So I just wanted to share that because it's working for me. It may not be for everybody, but for me, letting all of my all different parts have not to, I can't let them go. There's an intermediate step is first welcoming them and allowing them without, like Jesus said, resist not evil. My enemies, don't hate your enemies, including the voices of envy in you. Don't hate allow the envious part to, to come in to the table. They're allowed, but I don't need them to resolve before I experience peace. Peace is my number one. And these other things, they can be there. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. A friend of mine used to say, whatever floats your boat, which is exactly what you were saying. Sheree, you had one.
Yeah, I have one that I thought might work out well today. And it's called You Are What You Eat. And I think if Bob can find it, there we go. Okay. You are what you eat. Most people hear that sentence and immediately think of food. We think of calories, sugar, cholesterol, protein, vegetables, and whatever else we've been told this week will either save us or kill us. The phrase has become a dietary warning, usually delivered by someone holding a salad while quietly judging your sandwich. But what if we've been hearing it too narrowly? What if You are what you eat is not only about the body. What if it is about everything we take in? Food enters the body and becomes part of the body. That much is obvious. But ideas enter the mind and become part of our experience. Thoughts become attitudes. Attitudes become habits. Habits become perception. Perception becomes the world we believe we live in. We are not only fed by what passes through the mouth, we are fed by what passes through the mind. And the mind, if we are honest, is often on a terrible diet. Every day we consume fear, outrage, gossip, comparison, resentment, suspicion, judgment, and division. We call it news. We call it entertainment. We call it staying informed. We call it being realistic. But the mind does not care what label we put on it. It absorbs what we repeatedly give it. If we feed it conflict, it learns conflict. If we feed it fear, it learns fear. If we feed it grievance, it learns grievance. If we feed it peace, it begins to remember peace. This is not a call to ignorance. We do not need to hide from the world, pretend pain does not exist, or wrap ourselves in spiritual bubble wrap. That is not peace. That is avoidance, wearing nicer clothing. There is suffering in the world. There is cruelty. There is confusion. There is injustice. There are real needs and real cries for help. But there is a difference between being aware of suffering and allowing suffering to become the ruler of the mind. There is a difference between seeing conflict and becoming conflict. There is a difference between knowing about fear and feeding on fear. There is a difference between responding to the world and letting the world move into your mind, rearrange the furniture, and sleep in your favorite chair. The question is not only what is happening out there. The deeper question is, what am I allowing this to become in here? That is the true diet of the mind. Every thought we accept begins to clothe us. At first, it is just an idea. Then it becomes a repeated idea. Then it becomes a defended idea. Then it becomes part of our identity. Eventually, we no longer say, I am having an angry thought. We say, I am angry. Notice the difference. A thought passed through the mind. Then we put it on. Then we called it ourselves. We do this with fear. We do it with guilt. We do it with political opinions, religious positions, old wounds, private resentments, social roles, failure, success, pride, shame, and victimhood. We wear these costumes long enough and eventually forget they are costumes. We begin to think they are skin, but they are not. They are garments, and garments can be removed. This is where real spiritual discipline begins. Not in grand declarations, not in pretending to be holy, not in looking peaceful while quietly keeping a well-organized file cabinet of everyone else's sins. Spiritual discipline begins with watching what we take in. Before I accept this thought, does it bring peace? Before I repeat this story, does it heal? Before I share this opinion, does it clarify or divide? Before I replay this insult, do I actually want to eat it again? That may sound strange, but we do it all the time. We re-chew old pain. We re-swallow old arguments. We snack on memories that make us miserable and then wonder why our spiritual stomach hurts. We say we want peace, but we keep feeding the mind the very things that make peace impossible. This is why we must learn to take in only that which improves our life, not merely our lifestyle. There is a difference. A lifestyle is the outer arrangement, the house, the car, the clothes, the image, the reputation, the social circle, the online presentation, the visible success. None of this is necessarily wrong, but none of it can feed the soul. A life is deeper. A life is the condition of the mind. A life is the quality of our seeing. A life is whether we bring peace into a room or demand that the room supply it. A life is whether we forgive, whether we listen, whether we bless, whether we remember that every person we meet is carrying something we may never see. Much of what we consume today improves lifestyle while weakening life. It teaches us to want more, compare more, judge more, fear more, buy more, defend more, and divide more. It does not nourish us. It agitates us. It keeps us hungry while convincing us we are being fed. But the mind was not created for fear. It was not created for hatred. It was not created to be a warehouse for grievances. The mind was created for peace, and it suffers when we feed it anything else. A Course in Miracles teaches that perception is not neutral. We do not merely see what is there. We see through the meaning we have given it. We see through memory, fear, guilt, judgment, and desire. We believe we are reacting to the world as it is, but often we are reacting to the world as our mind has digested it. That is why two people can experience the same event and live in entirely different worlds. One sees an enemy. Another sees a frightened brother. One sees an insult. Another sees a call for love. One sees proof that the world is hopeless. Another sees an invitation to bring light. The event may be the same. The mind consuming it is not. So what should we eat? Take in what brings peace, not division. Take in what strengthens compassion, not contempt. Take in what clarifies without condemning. Take in what informs without inflaming. Take in what enlarges the heart rather than hardening it. Take in what improves your life, not just your argument. This does not mean we become passive. Peace is not weakness. Peace can say no. Peace can confront cruelty. Peace can leave a room, end a conversation, refuse an invitation, or stand firmly against harm. But peace does not need hatred in order to be strong. Hatred is not strength. Hatred is spiritual junk food. It gives us a quick rush, then leaves the mind weaker, hungrier, and more addicted than before. The ego loves hatred because hatred gives identity. It says, now you know who you are. You are the one who is right. You are the injured one. You are the superior one. You are the one who sees clearly while everyone else is blind. But hatred cannot heal because hatred is already the wound. Forgiveness is the opposite diet. Forgiveness does not say nothing happened. It does not bless cruelty or excuse harm. Forgiveness simply says, I will not feed on this anymore. I will not keep eating this pain. I will not make this grievance my daily bread. I will not allow this person, event, loss, insult, or betrayal to define the condition of my mind. Forgiveness is the decision to stop dining at the table of suffering. And yes, the ego will complain. The ego always complains when the menu changes. It will say, but you are right. It will say, but they deserve your anger. It will say, but if you let this go, who will you be? That is the real question. Who would I be without this grievance? Perhaps peaceful, perhaps free, perhaps myself. We do not have to maintain a perfect mental diet. That would only become another form of guilt. And guilt is not exactly health food. We will still take in fear sometimes. We will still replay old stories. We will still bite into resentment before realizing it has the same bitter taste it had last time. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Pause before you consume. Pause before you believe. Pause before you repeat. Pause before you let the world's fear become your own. Ask one simple question. Do I want this to become part of me? That question can change everything because we are always eating something. We are eating peace or fear, love or judgment, mercy or grievance, truth or noise. And what we take in, we eventually reflect. So choose carefully. Feed the mind kindness. Feed it stillness. Feed it courage without cruelty. Feed it wisdom without arrogance. Feed it truth without attack. Feed it laughter without mockery. Feed it love without conditions. The world will continue to offer its banquet of noise. It will serve panic for breakfast, resentment for lunch, and despair for dinner, usually with a generous side order of righteous indignation. But you do not have to clean your plate. You may simply say, no, thank you. I'm learning to eat differently now. You are what you eat. So eat peace. Take in love. Digest forgiveness. And let your life become the evidence of a mind no longer fed by fear. Any comments?
I love this. It's so appropriate for me today, because it's a matter of choosing to eat somewhere else. I keep eating at some of these old places thinking, I'm going to change the outcome circumstances for this inward condition I have. So thank you. This just puts the nail in the coffin for me. So thanks.
Well, and that's why I picked it, because of just conversations we've had going on here and reading some of the other things that Bob had written. And this is another one. I don't need to read it. If there's somebody else who'd like to read, this one's, it's not that long. This next one is called Perfect at Every Stage. Bob will get it up here, and if we can find somebody else who'd like to read it.
I can read it.
Okay, Gail,
I gotta find it.
you're just right here.
Ah,
It's just sometimes things seem to fit together, and it just, I didn't get through everything that he had done in the past week, but these were a few that I felt were worth sharing.
Perfect at every stage. A dear friend once said something to me that changed the direction of my life. A plant is perfect at every stage of its development. At first, I doubt I understood the depth of it. I heard the words, I appreciated the kindness behind them, but like many true things, they did not fully arrive all at once. They entered quietly, like a seed dropped into soil, unseen and uncelebrated, but alive. Only later did I realize that those few words had opened a door. At the time, I was in what many would call the dark night of the soul. I was recently divorced, between jobs, uncertain of who I was, and dangerously close to giving up on myself altogether. I do not say that for drama, nor to ask for sympathy. I say it because there may be someone reading this who knows that place, not in theory, not as a poetic phrase, but as a room they have actually occupied. It is the place where the old identity has collapsed, but the new one has not yet appeared. It is the place where the future feels blank, the past feels wasted, and the present feels like punishment. It is the place where you look at yourself and think, I should be more than this by now. That was my torment. I was not merely unhappy. I was accusing myself of being unfinished, defective, late, and somehow behind schedule in a race whose rules I had never been given. I thought I was supposed to know what I should become. I thought I was supposed to have a clear plan, a confident direction, and a respectable answer when life asked, what are you doing now? But I did not. And because I did not, I mistook confusion for failure. That is a dangerous mistake. A plant does not make that mistake. A seed does not apologize for not being a tree. A sprout does not condemn itself for not yet bearing fruit. A bud does not hate itself because it is not blossomed. Each stage is complete in itself, not because it is final, but because it is exactly where life is expressing itself at that moment. The, the seed is not a failed flower. The sprout is not an embarrassed tree. The bare branch in winter is not a dead mistake. It is only the mind of man that looks at a living process and says, this should already be different. That single idea offered by a friend loosened something in me. It did not solve my life overnight. It did not hand me a career, heal my divorce, or erase the grief I was carrying, but it interrupted the attack. It placed a small wedge of mercy between my pain and my self-judgment. Maybe I was not broken. Maybe I was growing. Maybe the stage I was in was not evident of failure, but evident of movement. That, that thought led me almost immediately to science and health. From there, I was led rapidly to A Course in Miracles. I did not find them because I was spiritually advanced. I found them because I was spiritually desperate. That distinction matters. Many of us arrive at the doorway of truth, not wearing robes of wisdom, but carrying the ashes of what we thought our life was supposed to be. I did not come seeking enlightenment. I came seeking air. I needed something larger than my own frightened thinking. I needed something that could speak to the part of me that knew, however faintly, that despair was not the truth, even when it felt true. A Course in Miracles did not flatter me. It did not tell me that the world would rearrange itself to make me comfortable. It did something far more merciful. It began to teach me that my suffering was not coming from the facts alone, but from the meaning I had given them. That was not easy to hear. When we are in pain, we often want agreement more than healing. We want someone to say, yes, you are right. You have been wronged. Your despair is justified. Your identity as victim is secure. But the Course, in its gentle but uncompromising way, asks us to consider another possibility, that we do not know what anything is for. At first, that can sound almost insulting. Of course, I knew what my divorce was for. It was proof I had failed. Of course, I knew what unemployment meant. It meant I had no value. Of course, I knew what loneliness meant. It meant I was unloved. But I did not know. I had assigned meanings for fear, from fear, and then bowed before them as if they were facts. The Course began to show me that I was not being asked to know what I should become. I was being asked to become willing, willing to be taught, willing to be corrected, willing to release the terrible burden of self-invention, willing to let go of the demand that I understand the whole journey before taking the next honest step. That was a great relief. The plant does not need to understand botany in order to grow. It does not need a 5-year plan. It does not compare itself to the oak, the rose, or the vine. It receives lights. It draws nourishment. It responds to what is given. And quietly, faithfully, it becomes what it was created to be. What if we are not so different? What if our task is not to manufacture a self, but to uncover the self that God created? What if the strain we feel comes from trying to become acceptable when we were never unacceptable? What if our frantic efforts to improve ourselves are often only disguised attacks upon ourselves? That does not mean we do nothing. Plants grow, they reach, they turn toward the sun, they deepen their roots, but they do not grow through self-hatred. They do not become stronger by condemning their present stage. Growth is not an argument with the present. It is the natural result of receiving what is true. I wish I could say I understood that quickly. I did not. I had to learn it slowly, repeatedly, and often reluctantly. I had to see how much of my life had been driven by the belief that I was behind. Behind whom, I could not say. Behind what, I could not define. But the feeling was powerful. It referred that somewhere there was a version of me I should already have become. And every day I failed to reach him was another count in the indictment. That voice was not God. God does not speak in accusation. The Holy Spirit does not guide by contempt. Love does not shame a seed for being underground. This realization became one of the great turning points of my life. It did not make me passive. It made me gentler. And gentleness, I have discovered, is not weakness. It may be one of the highest forms of strength. The ego drives, the spirit leads, the ego pairs, the spirit reminds, The ego demands a finished product. The spirit blesses the holy process. Over time, the very things I thought disqualified me became part of my preparation. My confusion made me more compassionate toward the confused. My despair made me tender toward those who were barely holding on. My failures stripped me the illusion that I had wisdom to offer from a pedestal. Whatever I teach now, I teach as one who has been rescued from his own conclusions. That is an important distinction. I do not teach a I do not teach a course in miracles because I mastered it. I teach because it is mastering me. I teach because its principles met me in the ruins and would not let me turn the ruins into a permanent identity. I teach because I know what it is to believe the story of fear, and I know there is another teacher within the mind. Today, when I sit with others who are struggling, I try to remember the plant. I try to remember that no one is helped by being told they should be further along. Most people are already beating themselves with that stick. They do not need a spiritual version of the same attack. They need mercy. They need someone to say, "You are not finished, but you are not wrong." They need to know that being in winter does not mean spring has been canceled. They need to hear that confusion is not proof of spiritual failure. Sometimes confusion is the moment when an old false certainty is dissolving. Sometimes not knowing is the beginning of being taught. Sometimes the collapse of the life we planned is the first opening through which a deeper life can enter. This is not always comforting when it is happening. Let us be honest about that. When the seed is in the ground, it may feel buried, not planted. The difference may not be visible at first. Darkness can feel like death before it becomes germination. But if you are in such a place, please do not use your present pain as evidence against your future. You do not know what is being prepared in you. You do not know what tenderness, wisdom, humility, and strength are forming beneath the surface. You do not know how the very experience you now wish had never happened may someday become the doorway through which you understand another person's suffering. This is not to glorify pain. Pain is not holy. Suffering is not required by God. But once pain has appeared, it can be given to a different purpose. What the ego uses to prove separation, the Holy Spirit can use to teach joining. What the ego uses for self condemnation, the Holy Spirit can reinterpret as a call for love. That reinterpretation changed my life. I began to see that I was not asked to become impressive. I was asked to become available. I was not asked to create the light. I was asked to stop defending against it. I was not asked to know the whole path. I was asked to take the next step without using my uncertainty as proof that I was lost. And now, looking back, I can see the strange grace in that friend's simple sentence. A plant is perfect at every stage of its development. It did not mean every stage is pleasant. It did not mean every stage is mature. It did not mean the seed should refuse to sprout or the bud should refuse to bloom. It meant that growth itself is sacred. It meant the present stage is not an error merely because it is complete. It meant that becoming is not a crime. That was what I needed to hear. Perhaps it is what someone else needs to hear now. You may be between jobs. You may be after a divorce, a death, a diagnosis, a betrayal, or a disappointment you can hardly name. You may be looking at your life and thinking, this is not where I should be. You may be tempted to conclude that because you do not know what comes next, nothing good can come next. Please be gentle with that conclusion. It is not wisdom. It is fear speaking in the costume of certainty. You are not required to know the final form of your life today. You are not required to justify your stage of growth to anyone, including yourself. You are not required to bloom on command. Receive the light that is given today. Take the nourishment that is available today. Let the roots go a little deeper today. And if all you can do is remain willing, then remain willing. Willingness is not a small thing. In A Course in Miracles, willingness is the little opening through which everything can be changed. I once thought I had known what I should be. I now suspect that that was never my assignment. My assignment was to stop attacking what I was, so God could reveal what had never been lost. The plant was perfect as seed, perfect as sprout, perfect as bud, and perfect as bloom. Not because it was finished, because it was alive. So are you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you. That yeah, that one I read recently. It's awesome. Yeah, that it is so human, so honest, so personal, and yeah, it is so Robert. Yes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Robert.
Brooklyn.
Namaste, mighty companions. Gail, can I ask where you're from?
I'm from Rochester, New York.
Oh, I knew there was New York in there. Okay.
Yeah, New Yorker.
I can relate to this so well. When I was younger, I used to say, if this was all there was, it's got to be a cruel joke. And then when I learned that everything led me to now, and I'm grateful for that. And yeah, it's not that we have to learn anything. It's that let me remove the blocks to love's awareness. And that's expressed so beautifully. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Rafi?
Yes, just as the plant is divinely guided along the way from the seed to the blossoming, and just like every animal in the wild is divinely guided along the way, so it grows up from a little whatever into, and then it matures and it knows how to take care of itself and it knows how to take care of whatever else. That is not taught. There's no one that can teach that. And we are exactly the same thing. There is this infinite, constant, loving support that is there every moment, that is guiding us along the way. And it is the journey that is important, not the end of the journey, because the end of the journey, we have already been, we are already that, we have already been that, and we will forever eternally be that. So the only thing that becomes is to just secure ourselves in the process of the journey. And that's what we're doing right now. How perfect is that?
Thank you, Rafi. Lynn, I'm sorry we've gone a few minutes over, but I felt it was better that we try and get one more in.
Oh, no, that's perfect. And I appreciate it very much. And I appreciate Gail for reading. I appreciate everyone who's read today. It's just wonderful. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and Sharon, did she leave? Yeah, believe she left a bit
Yeah.
ago. I was so glad to see her because I know she's not feeling well. So